Well, we're joined now from Washington by John Lott, who is president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, and from Alabama by political commentator Eric Guster. Now, very good morning to you both. John Lott, you are an advocate for guns, founder of this centre, but author of The War on Guns and also More Guns, Less Crime. You think that the more people who have guns, the fewer shootings there are likely to be. Do you think that in the case of the Florida school shooting, that more people at the school should have been armed and that would have stopped Nicholas Cruz in his tracks?
Well, it was yet another case where an attack occurred where guns were banned. You know, if you look at all the mass public shootings in Florida, every single one has taken place where guns are banned. In the United States, generally, since 1950, over 98% of the mass public shootings have taken place where guns are banned.
Is that true?
Time after
Sorry
time,
to interrupt you, Mr. Lott, but is that true? Because our information is that actually there was a patrol, an armed patrol at the school. It didn't encounter the alleged attack on Nicholas Cruz, but there was, in fact, an armed patrol at the school.
Right. What I'm talking about is whether civilians are able to go and have guns in different places. So, I mean, when you're talking about people owning guns, I assumed you were talking about civilians having guns, not whether police have guns. But the problem that you have with having armed guards who are in uniform is they have an almost impossible job. You know, they are the first target, whether it be in the United States at places like the Pulse nightclub attack, or in Paris, where you had the Charlie Hebdo attack, or last year in Istanbul when you had the attack at the nightclub. Somebody in uniform has an almost impossible job, because if an attack is going to occur, they're going to be the first person taken out. The advantage of having concealed handguns is that the attackers don't know who it is that they have to deal with first, or who might respond, and that takes away their strategic advantage and makes it much harder for them to do the attack.
Eric Guster, we talked to you a lot on this programme. You own guns yourself, but you are in favour of stricter gun control. What do you make of the pressure that is currently on President Trump and his announcement yesterday about this ban on these bump stocks, which turn semi-automatic rifles into machine guns? Now, that actually is, you know, according to many people, enormous progress. Do you see it as that?
No, it's not that much progress. Bump stock changes a semi-automatic weapon into an automatic weapon. That's the only change. An AR-15 has rapid fire power. I've shot one before. I'm in Alabama, where a lot of people have guns. I have multiple handguns, but an AR-15 is a weapon to kill a large number of people in a very short amount of time. And what your previous commenters said is extremely flawed logic. We have people who say, well, these people need to have concealed weapons, and that's going to stop a mass shooter. That's not going to happen. That is very flawed logic. And those people who are really promoting people having AR-15s and these weapons of literally mass destruction in the hands of mentally ill people and evil people, those are the ones that we need to keep guns out of their hands. Those are the ones we need to keep these weapons away from, because these are the ones who are killing our children. And when these lawmakers are in that pocket of the NRA, when they're being pimped by the NRA, saying, we're going to give you money so you go and fight for our agenda, despite the blood that is on your hands, that is a problem in the United States, and we have to fight against that.
I mean, if I can come back to you, John Lott, that these kind of controls wouldn't have worked in the case of shooting, would it? Because, as Eric said, it was a different kind of weapon that wouldn't have affected it in that case as well. But also, when you say that we need to arm more civilians, we've spoken to many students caught up in this who say they would be very frightened by that. I mean, where would you stop? Would every teacher be carrying a gun? Would every member of staff be carrying a gun inside a school to protect something like this? The civilians in the surrounding area couldn't have got in any quicker to help. And if we're worried about things going wrong, what happens if a teacher suddenly had a moment of panic? And, you know, it feels like more guns to us here in the UK can't be the solution. So explain how it would work.
Well, 25 states in the United States allow to varying degrees teachers and staff to carry guns on school property now. You don't hear any problems that occur in those places, despite the types of concerns that you raise. There hasn't been any mass public shootings at any of those schools that allow that. Look, when you read the diaries and statements from these killers, one thing that they say over and over again is they try to pick targets where they know people can't defend themselves, because they know the longer it takes for somebody to arrive with a gun, even if it's just 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, the more people that they're going to be able to go and kill. When you look at these mass public shootings, time after time, these attackers pick places where victims are relatively easier targets for them to go after.
Why not? But why not just ban these people having access to these weapons? Well, I think what people struggle with is why more weapons is going to lead to fewer shootings. Surely the answer is to put a ban on people buying these weapons at all.
Well, look, if you want to ban all semi-automatic guns, that's fine. There's nothing unique about these AR-15s. They're the same as a semi-automatic hunting rifle. One pull the trigger, one bullet comes out at a time, it automatically reloads. The thing is, semi-automatic guns also provide safety for individuals who are using guns defensively to protect themselves. The alternative
but they're only using the guns defensively to protect ourselves, it appears to us here in the UK, because people are coming at them with guns. So if those guns were removed, it's so hard for us to understand how it's easier to buy a gun in Florida than it is to buy cold and flu remedy. That's the way the law is.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's not true.
It is true.
That's not true.
It is true. There's more legal prevention to buying more than 9 grams of cold and flu remedy in Florida than there is to buying a gun.
Okay.
Same thing here.
With the cold and flu remedy, they're worried about people making meth. But in any case, you have to go through a background check. You have to show government-issued ID. This is not a trivial thing just to go and buy a gun any place in the country. Okay, if you're going to buy it from a licensed dealer, you have a long list of things you have to go through. You have to go and certify, whether you've been involuntarily committed for mental illness or adjudicated as having mental illness. If you've been discharged dishonorably from the military, you're not allowed to go and buy a gun or own a gun. If you do under those circumstances, it's a crime for you even to own a gun.
And
those
yet,
are the types of things you face for cold.
But you have the gun show loophole that lets people get around those rules in reference to buying AR-15s. And the flaw, just like what John just said, a very, very untrue statement. In reference to an AR-15 and a hunting rifle, those are totally different weapons. I have shot hunting rifles and an AR-15, and it's they are different weapons, John. And you're lying to these viewers and trying to promote your agenda, and you're wrong. And I did not disturb you, John. Let me finish. I did not disturb you while you were lying to these people. Let me finish and dispel your lies. When an AR-15 is a weapon to kill multiple people in a short amount of time. A hunting rifle, you can take one shot, then you have to reload, and you know that, John. Shame on you for pushing the NRA agenda. Shame on you, and there's blood on the hands of people just like you who have this flawed logic and have this narrow mind.
Look, I could say that you have blood on your hands, and here's the reason that gun control people keep on pushing laws that have nothing to do with stopping these attacks. The #1 rule that they keep on trying to
AR-15. Keep AR-15s out of the hands of these crazy people, John. You are putting them in the hands of these people, and you're okay with that. And that's the problem that I have. I did not disturb you when you were. Oh God, you are such a hypocrite, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, this is obviously there is obviously a row, a huge row about this, and the emotions run very, very high on this. Completely understandably, Eric Guster, we have to move on, unfortunately, but I want to ask you before we go. President Trump's ban on bump stock would not have made any difference to the Florida school shooting, although it may have made a difference in the case of the Las Vegas shooter. What could should he have done in the wake of what happened last week? And do you feel that he's sort of made a concession that looks like he's acting, but actually he could have gone and should have gone much further?
He is pretending to act, but he has not put that forth where bump stocks have been banned. The AR-15 is, like I said earlier, it's a weapon of mass destruction. You can shoot it very rapidly, and the bump stock is just one of those resources that help someone shoot it much faster. However, President Trump, he needs to be presidential. He needs to come out and start speaking out against these blood-sucking NRA politicians,
then have rules
and shame
that would
on all these
actually make a
Republicans
difference.
who have blood on their hands, just like this moron who's on with me today.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
I apologize for saying that word.
If people go to our website at crimeresearch.org, you can find dozens
Oh,
of
God, now
cases
you're promoting your
where mass public
website.
shootings have
Shame
been
on you.
stopped
Blood
by-
on your hands.
I'm trying
Shame
to
on you.
let people
Shame on
get
you.
information.
Shame on
Look,
OK, just
I
final
know
word,
weapons,
John.
dozens of
Final
cases
word.
Three
where
pistols.
citizens with permit concealed
believe
handguns have
in
saved
sensible
lives,
gun control,
stopped mass
and people
shootings.
like you are the nut
Every
jobs
place
that
in the
make
world
America
that's
scary,
banned
that
guns
have
has
blood
seen
on
an
their hands
increase
from
in
these
murder
little
rates.
children
Okay.
who are afraid
Stop
to go to
filibustering.
school, man. Children
Every
should
place
not
in
be
the
afraid to
world
go to school.
that's
And your
banned
flawed
guns has
logic
seen an increase
in
in murder rates. You are the one who's trying to push rules that are going to harm people.
OK, John Lott,
You're
thank
making
you,
it so people
Eric
can't
Guster.
defend themselves.
There we must leave it. With absolutely no agreement whatsoever,
Absolutely no
obviously. I
agreement.
mean, it's a sign, isn't it? Thank you both very much indeed.
Well, of
The
course,
division
passion is
over
right
this.
key.
The division is over
Yeah,
this.
I mean, it's there in the, the Constitution, and it's there with people losing lives. So it's going to run very deep, and doesn't seem like any solutions in short-term sight, does it? Now, we've got lots